No, sir.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. So, yeah, good morning and welcome to yet another online tutorial on microwaves and antennas. So, we are in module 3, right? And we were discussing about different spatial parameters of antennas, right? So, in last class, we have seen what is directivity, right? And we solved some problems. And I told you, right, the possible types of problems. So, apart from that, right, apart from those 3 types of integrals, you won't get any other problem, right? So it can be sine square theta, sine cube phi, if whatever it is, right? The solution is solving the at the end it would be like solving those 3 different types of integral, right? Unless otherwise people are going to bring in new twist. I don't think it will happen, right? So that's it. So in today's class, this is the agenda, right? So I have to discuss about these stuffs. So today what I'll do is I'll try to bring in a bit more contents, right? So in today's class, we'll discuss about this. One second. One second. Yeah. So in today's class, we'll be discussing about this gain, right, and antenna efficiency, right. So we have seen in last class, directivity of an antenna. It is how much an antenna can concentrate in a given direction, right. Directivity, right. It's how much an antenna can concentrate power in a given direction. If this is P max, maximum power, and if this is actually what average power, right? It is ratio of P max by P average, right? So it's actually what an ideal value. We in this when finding directivity, we are assuming this antenna which is used is actually what ideal a directional radiator or its efficiency eta is equal to 100%, right? That's what we are assuming. But in practice, right, this efficiency is nothing but what radiated power. If you give a power, if you give some total power to an antenna, out of that, what fraction is radiated? That is actually what efficiency, or we'll call it as K, right? So normally we'll tell it as efficiency factor, right? So because of that, right, what will happen? The actual gain of the antenna will be actually what K times directivity. So that is actually what gain, right? So we'll discuss about gain of an antenna and what actually is this efficiency, right? And then we'll see how directivity and resolution are related, right? Suppose you have an antenna kept at origin of some coordinate system, right? And if you are considering a spherical orbit around it, so it's a 3-dimensional spherical orbit around it. So how many different transmitting antennas this particular antenna can actually what resolve? That is actually what is resolution, right? So we have seen this resolution of an antenna is equal to actually what FNBW by 2, personal beam width by 2, right? But in space, in 3D space, how many different transmitters an antenna can resolve, right? So that we'll study that N will be numerically equal to directivity, or else if an antenna has a beam area omega A, right, its directivity is 4 pi by omega A. The meaning is this antenna can divide the entire sphere into this many number of distinct region, right? So that it can resolve d number of say point sources which are uniformly spaced over a sphere, right? That is actually the meaning of directivity. One second, let me just see if anyone is trying to join in, right? Okay, no one. We already have 50, right? Okay, fine. So that is about that is the next thing, directivity and resolution. Then we will discuss about antenna aperture, right? Antenna aperture. They'll see what is actual physical aperture. We'll see what is effective aperture. We'll see what is aperture efficiency, right? We'll see what is aperture efficiency. Then we have to find a relationship between directivity and effective aperture. We can write directivity will be equal to 4 pi A by lambda square. This relation is what we have to derive, right? And if time permits, we'll take up this radio communication link or Frisch transmission formula, right? So that is today's agenda, right? So now we'll straight away start with the aspect of gain, right? We'll straight away start with the aspect of gain, right? One second. So gain, as I told, it's actually what actual realized quantity which is less of directivity, right, which is less than directivity, right? So because of this antenna efficiency factor, if you give a power P to an antenna, the total power will not be radiated. Only a fraction of the power will be radiated. Remaining part will be either dissipated as heat or reflected back to the generator part, right? So so this efficiency factor K or eta, right, whatever. So it will be always less than or equal to 1, or between 0 and 1, right? And this reduction in efficiency or a part of the power only being transmitted. The reason can be actually what this antenna is made up of metallic structures, right? Antenna is made up of metallic structures, so there can be ohmic losses. So one of the reasons for this reduced efficiency is ohmic losses in antenna, or there can be actually what some structures, right, surrounding the antenna. If this is your antenna, there can be some structures in which your antenna is encased, right? So in this radome also we can have some ohmic losses. So this reduced efficiency can be due to ohmic losses in antenna or its radome, or else it can be due to actually what normally what we'll do is we have a generator, we'll connect the generator to an antenna using a transmission line. This transmission line may have a characteristic impedance Z0, and this antenna region can have an impedance, input impedance of ZA, right? If Z0 is not equal to ZA, what will happen? A part of the power which is supposed to be delivered to antenna will be reflected back, right? So a mismatch between feeding and antenna impedance can also be a reason for this reduced efficiency. So if the actual directional gain is actually what this G, not the D, right? So that is efficiency times D, right? Which means, right, when we found 4 pi by omega is equal to 6, right? So actual the meaning is actually what directivity is 6. When we show directivity is 6, the meaning is if the isotropic radiates a power of one unit, right? So the directional antenna will radiate a power D times that of an isotropic radiator, but actually it will be slightly less than actually what D times that of an ideal isotropic radiator. That is the meaning. That is actually what G, right? So this gain can be, right, so this gain, if you have an antenna with some radiation pattern like this, right? Suppose you have an antenna with some radiation pattern like this, right? So we can find out gain in any direction. If you see in the direction of null, gain is 0, right? If it is some other direction, right, gain will be less than maximum. So when I say gain, unless otherwise specified, we are interested in maximum gain in maximum direction, right? Maximum directional gain. So we are interested in this maximum directional gain, but gain can be defined in any given direction. So that will be the gain in any given direction will be actually what the actual power density in that direction to average power density. That will be gain in any given direction. So I can tell if for a well-designed antenna, right, K may be close to 1. If you design an antenna very well, if it is perfectly matched, and if you are choosing the material such that there is no ohmic losses and all, right? So we can have gain approximately equal to directivity, right? But most of the time, efficiency will be actually what, say, less than 1, right? And in practical cases, right, we can measure gain by comparing the maximum power density of the antenna under test. Suppose I want to find gain of this antenna under test, right? So if I compare the maximum power density of this antenna under test with a reference antenna whose gain is known, right? So this reference antenna can be a short dipole, right? This reference antenna can be a short dipole. For instance, for a short dipole, omega A is equal to what, 1.26 pi, right? Omega A is 1.26 pi. So we can find what is its directivity. Directivity will be, sorry, it's 1 second. Give me a moment. Actually, my pen gave me some problem. 1 second. Right, give me a moment. So my touchpad is giving me some problem. Kindly wait. Okay. Whether my screen is visible now? Can anyone give me feedback?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Actually, my OneNote it stopped by mistake. Right. Once again, I'll share. Right. Just wait. Right. So today I'll be going a bit fast, not fast. Right. So as you are comfortable with the basics, I'll be going a bit fast. That's it. Right. So now is it visible? Now the
Yes,
screen
sir.
is visible. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah. So gain of an antenna under test can be found out as maximum power density of that antenna divided by maximum power density of some reference antenna. This reference antenna can be actually what? A short dipole, right? A short dipole, right? You know, a short dipole has a omega A of 1.265. We'll study it later, right? And its directivity will be equal to 4 pi by 1.26 pi. So what is 4 pi? 4 by 1.26? Is it 1.5? Can anyone tell me what is 4 by 1.26? 4 by 1.26. I'm just taking up a practical example. That's it. Tell me what is 4 by 1.26? So I was just telling a short dip.
3.17.
It is sorry 4 by 1.26 is
3.17.
3.17, right? And what is 4 pi by 1.26? 4 pi by 1.26.
9.97.
Okay, okay, yeah, fine. So maybe we'll come to that figure later, right? So this short and a short dipole, right? We may be knowing its gain, right? So this gain will be known, and if you take ratio of maximum radiation of the given antenna to maximum radiation of the reference antenna times its gain, that is how we can practically find out gain, right? But after studying the Friis transmission formula, I'll tell you one more practical method which you'll be using in lab to find gain, right? So as of now, please do keep in mind the key takeaway should be gain as an actual realizable quantity. Gain is actual realizable quantity. That is actually what efficiency times directivity. So gain will always be less than or equal to directivity, right? Gain will always be less than or equal to directivity. It is due to actually what the total power given to an antenna will not be radiated. Only a fraction of it will be radiated back. And this K is nothing but what? P radiated divided by T, P total. Total power, out of total power given to an antenna, what fraction of the power is radiated? That is actually what? Efficiency. So that is the key takeaway, right? Gain is equal to efficiency times directivity, right? Maybe when we discuss the next module and all, I'll bring in some more different aspects of gain. But for the time being, this is more than sufficient. Is it clear? What have I told? Is it clear what have I told about gain? I hope so. Right, as no one is unmuting and telling anything, so or else I'll just see if any questions are there in the chat window. Right. I hope it's fine. So the key takeaway should be gain is efficiency times directivity. An antenna, it cannot radiate all the power delivered to it. It will radiate only a part. Right. So the actual antenna is not an ideal antenna. For practical antenna, the efficiency is less than 1. That is radiated power by total power. So gain is nothing but efficiency times directivity. That's it. Right. So gain of practical antennas we'll see later. Right. What different gains of practical antennas we'll see later. Right. So now I can use an equivalent circuit to come up with a mathematical expression for antenna efficiency. Right. I can use an equivalent circuit. So maybe I'll use a new page. Right. So suppose I have an antenna who is connected to a generator, right? VS, right? VS, and this antenna, right? Suppose it has some. The total resistance includes actually what? The loss resistance and radiation resistance, right? Loss resistance and radiation resistance, right? So this radiation resistance is nothing but so if the current RMS current through this circuit is actually what IRMS, right? So power will be dissipated across this loss resistance and power will be dissipated across this radiation resistance, right? So power across the loss resistance PL will be equal to I square RL, I square RMS times RL, right? This will be dissipated as heat or it will be actually what a part will be reflected back, right? And power radiated is nothing but what? I square RMS times RR. This will be radiated. This will be radiated, right? So out of the total power P or PT delivered to this antenna, right? Only the part which is delivered to the RR is radiated, right? And this is actually what dissipated as heat, right? Whichever is given across RL. So this is an equivalent circuit. This is an equivalent circuit. So I can write antenna efficiency K or eta, right? K or eta. Our textbook uses the unit K, right? Or eta. It is nothing but what? Total power radiated divided by total power delivered to an antenna, and this will be equal to, right, total power radiated is actually what? I square RMS times RR divided by total power is actually what? PL plus P radiated. Total power is actually what it is? PL plus P radiated. So that is equal to IRMS square times RR plus IRMS square times RL. So this IRMS square will be cancelled out, right? So what will be left out is IRMS square will be cancelled out. So I can write K or eta, that is equal to RR divided by RR plus RL, where this RL is actually what? The loss resistance, right? RL is nothing but the loss resistance. So this can be, right, loss resistance, and this RR is nothing but what? Radiation resistance. So this loss resistance can be actually what? Ohmic part of antenna or the ohmic part of the transmission feed, right? So I'm not differentiating it, right? So we don't have to dig that much into deeper what actually can be that RR. But for instance, right, we have to appreciate this. Eta is the ratio of radiated resistance to the total resistive part of this impedance of antenna system, right? So that's it. That's about gain, right? And there are more practical ways of measuring gain. So we don't have to know the efficiency, right? So we don't have to know the efficiency. There are more practical ways of measuring gain. So you don't have to bother about this. So that's about actually what? Gain and antenna efficiency. So this defined gain can be a 3 or 4 mark question, and define antenna efficiency also can be a 3 or 4 mark question. So you should tell what is antenna efficiency and how it is mathematically equal to radiate in equivalent using equivalent circuit, how it is mathematically equal to radiation resistance divided by the total resistance. Is it clear? Is there any doubt in this? Is there any doubt in the aspect of gain? Is there any doubt? Please respond. Elvin, is it clear for you?
Yes, sir, somewhat.
Somewhat. So,
Actually, I had network issues, so I couldn't.
okay,
Sir.
maybe if I may ask, Kavishri,
Yes, sir.
is it clear the concept of gain?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Then maybe I'll ask someone else again. Marvin, can you please unmute?
Yes, sir.
Are you clear with the concept of gain?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I'll go ahead. Right. I just wanted to ask, right, because I'll be taking up some 2, 3, 4, 5 different concepts today. So I want you to be clear with this so that I can move to the next slide. So that is about gain and efficiency of antenna. Right. Next, I'll be discussing something about directivity and resolution. Right. I'll be discussing about directivity and resolution. For that, right. So next we are going to discuss how directivity of an antenna is related to resolution. Right. Suppose you have an antenna with a radiation pattern like this. Right. So it is the first null. Right. First null, and this much will be actually what? First null beam width. This much is actually what? First null beam width. Right. So the resolution of this antenna is actually what? Resolution of antenna is this much. Why? Because if there is a satellite along its main beam, right, and if the next satellite is actually what? Placed such that it is along the null of the antenna, right? If it is placed on, this is the null of an antenna, right? The adjacent satellites are placed along null. If first satellite is along the main beam and adjacent satellites are along the null, this antenna can resolve or differentiate between these two, or else these two satellites cannot actually what give any interference to this particular antenna, right? So that is why I told resolution is equal to first null beam width divided by 2. Resolution is equal to first null beam width by 2. And one more important assumption I am telling, right? In most of the cases, right, first null beam width by 2 will be approximately equal to half power beam width, right? This is again actually what one approximate assumption for most of the practical antennas, right? With small beam antennas, right? With most of the practical antenna with very narrow beam width, right? This assumption holds good, right? So I told resolution is first null beam width by 2. The meaning is, right, if I say an antenna has a first null beam width of 2 degree, right? Suppose it's a very narrow pencil beam antenna, right? So this 2-degree beam width itself can cover actually what? Very large area if the distance is very large, right? If the, even though this is 2-degree, right? If you consider the geostationary orbit and all, right, the distance is actually what? 30,000 kilometer, right? So you can find out what will be the arc length or the corresponding area coverage, right? What will be the corresponding area coverage if the radius is 30,000, right? You know, arc length is equal to r times theta. So that arc length will be more. So this 2-degree itself is actually what? Very large for a very long distance communication. Okay, fine, whatever. So if the first null beam width is actually what? FNBW is equal to 2-degree. The meaning is this particular antenna can resolve between two satellites which are placed actually what? 1 degree apart in a geostationary orbit, right? That is, this antenna can resolve between two satellites which are placed 1 degree apart as seen by this antenna, so that along the main beam we will have our intended transmitter and the unintended transmitters, adjacent unintended transmitters will be along the nulls, right? That is the meaning, right? So now I'm telling only about a plane, in a plane over a circle, but if you consider it in 3D, just imagine what will happen if you consider it in 3D. In 3D, right, if this antenna has a beam area of omega A, right, if this antenna has got some beam area of omega A, right, if this, so suppose this antenna has got some beam area, right, beam area is omega A, then the, if you consider a sphere, right, a sphere, it has actually what? 4 pi steradian, right? The beam area of a sphere is 4 pi steradian. So an antenna of beam area omega A kept at actually what? Center of a sphere, right? Center of a sphere, it can cover actually what? This much area. If radius of the sphere is r, so it can cover an area of r square times omega A. This is from the definition of solid angle, right? Omega A is nothing but what? Area by r square. So area will be r square times omega A. So this antenna which is kept at origin can cover an area of r square times omega A on a sphere of radius r, right? This sphere can be actually what? A particular spherical orbit, right, wherein satellites will be uniformly deployed. So the number of such, right, footprints, mutually exclusive footprints this antenna can have, right, that will be equal to total number of satellites on a spherical orbit an antenna can resolve. I'll repeat, the number of such distinct footprints an antenna can have on a sphere, right? So suppose it's, just imagine it as an actually what? A torch kept at origin. So if you, a torch will have some beam area, and if you light a torch from center of a sphere, and that will cast a footprint on the sphere, right? So that footprint will have some area that is equal to r square times omega A, and the total number of such areas will be equal to nothing but what? 4 pi r square. So total number of satellites an antenna can resolve, right? So I'll write here total number of uniformly spaced what is the spacing that we have to decide, right? What is the spacing that will be decided by the antennas property? Uniformly spaced transmitters, right? I'll call it as N, and antenna can resolve in 3-dimension, right? Will be right. So this antenna can cast a footprint of omega square A on a sphere, right? If you consider the satellite as the orbit as a sphere, right? So that will be equal to N. That will be equal to this 4 pi r square divided by r square times omega A, which means this is total area of a sphere divided by footprint of this antenna, right? So that will be equal to 4 pi by omega A, and that will be numerically equal to directivity. That will be numerically equal to directivity. This is one way of proving that, right? So what I want to tell is the total number of uniformly spaced transmitters and antenna can resolve, that is capital N, in a 3D space, right, or over a sphere of given radius will be numerically equal to its directivity. So if I say directivity of an antenna is equal to 6, which means it can resolve 6 different equally spaced transmitters on a sphere, right? It can resolve 6 different equally spaced transmitters on a sphere, which means when I say resolve, which means it can receive only from one particular and a transmitter without any interference from the others, right? That is meant by the resolution. So that is that, right? So or else one more way of actually what putting it forth is, right? So this 4 pi by omega A, right? Or else one more way of putting it forth is, I know this omega A is equal to actually what? Theta hp times phi hp, right? So these are nothing but what? Half power beamwidths in two principal planes, right? In two principal planes. So if you have a radiation pattern like this again, right? Right. If it is symmetric with, so this is say x-axis, this is y-axis, and this is z-axis. Theta hp can be actually what? A principal cut in this xy plane, right? So the half power beamwidth of that 2D pattern, right? And phi hp can be actually what? Principal cut in a mutually orthogonal plane. So if it is a if it is a symmetric, most of the cases the pattern will be symmetric with respect to main lobe axis. The theta hp and phi hp will be same, right? So we know this, right? But I can write theta hp, right, is approximately equal to first null beam width by 2 in theta plane, right? So we told that, right? So that will be equal to first null beam width by 2 in, right? So first null beam width by 2 in theta plane. So half hour beam width will be first null beam width by 2 in theta plane, and similarly phi hp will be, sorry, fn bw by 2 in the phi plane. So again I can write omega A is equal to fn bw by 2 in theta plane times fn bw by 2 in phi plane. These are actually what? This is nothing but resolution in theta plane, and this is nothing but resolution in phi plane. So product of resolutions in two mutually orthogonal planes, right? So the number of antennas it can resolve. So this makes more sense. Number of antennas it can resolve in a sphere, that is 4 pi by omega A, that is equal to 4 pi divided by fn bw by 2 in theta plane and fn bw by 2 in phi plane, and that is numerically equal to d. So that is the key takeaway, right? That is key takeaway, right? If you are asked a question, an antenna with so and so radiation pattern, right? Find the total number of point sources uniformly spaced point sources on a sphere an antenna placed at origin can resolve? Right. So the answer would be its directivity. That will be numerically equal to its directivity. So directivity, you can also see directivity as, right. So D is the number of mutually exclusive portions to which an antenna beam can divide a sphere. Right. So I'll repeat. So D can be, you can note it down. D can be viewed as the mutually exclusive areas to which an antenna beam can divide a sphere. Right. So I'll repeat. D can be mutually exclusive portions to which an antenna beam can divide a sphere. So that is numerically equal to total number of point sources. Right. So what is point sources? We'll discuss detail in later. Right. So total number of point sources an antenna can resolve in a 3D space. Uniformly distributed, ideally. Right. So this is about resolution and directivity. So we have seen N is equal to D. So N is the number of sources an antenna can resolve in a 3D space. So is it clear? Is this concept clear? Any doubt in this? Is this concept clear? The concept of say directivity and resolution. Is this clear? If any doubt is there, please feel free to ask. Right. If any doubt is there, please feel free to ask. I'll give you 30 seconds. If any doubt, please type yes. Otherwise, you can tell go ahead. All are here, right? All are with me, I guess. Right. All are able to follow, or is there any issue? I'm just trying to bring in more and more content within a class. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, fine. So I'll go ahead, Elvin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So yeah. So that is about directivity and resolution. Right. So next topic is actually what? Antenna aperture. Right. Antenna. Right. So antenna aperture, right? It's actually what it has to it has got to do something with area of the antenna, effective area from which an antenna can capture electromagnetic waves. Right. So antenna aperture, it is the area from which an antenna can capture electromagnetic waves. So if you think of a wire antenna, so it's difficult for us to visualize. Right. If you think of a wire antenna, it is difficult for us to visualize. Right. So I will be considering a horn type of antenna, right? A horn antenna is nothing but what? An antenna which has got a physical opening, right? A horn antenna is nothing but what? An antenna which has got a physical opening like this, right? So one second, maybe I can draw a bit neat diagram. Right. Sorry, I'll be considering a horn type of antenna. So it has a physical opening. This horn type of antenna, it has a physical opening as such, right? So this horn antenna is nothing but what? This is a rectangular waveguide, right? This is a rectangular waveguide that is actually what tapered open like this. So this antenna, it may have some length L and say breadth B, right? So the area, the actual area, physical area, or I'll call it as actually what? Or physical aperture, right? Physical aperture equal to AP, right? Physical AP area is AP meter square, right? So, and you know, if any source is there, suppose it's an isotropic source, it will radiate power, right, spherically, right? Which means power is inversely proportional to 1 by R square. PR is proportional to 1 by R square. So power will be actually what? As you move away from the antenna, power will be spread across a sphere of area 4 pi R square. So power per unit area, right? Power per unit area will be actually what? At any given point R, power per unit area or power density SR will be actually what? P by 4 pi R square, right? In terms of if it is an isotropic radiator, right? That is, power is decaying down as 1 by r square, or the power will be spread across more and more area as we increase distance from antenna, right? So suppose you have a transmitter here, right? Suppose you have a transmitter here at this point, and if that is actually what transmitting some power to this antenna, say uh, its electric field intensity vectors are oriented like this, and the power as such is actually what radiated in this direction. So electric field is oriented like this, right? Electric field is oriented like this, and power as such is moving in this direction, right? So this SR is nothing but what? Power per unit area, watts per meter square, right? So what will be the total power this antenna can capture? So if S is the power density, S watt per meter square is the power density at the place where antenna is placed, this antenna will be able to, right? This antenna will be able to capture power only from this area, right? This given area, right? It will be able to capture power only from this given area. If the power, right, power which is radiated out of this, it won't be able to capture, right? So if power density is S watt per meter square, right? The total power, right? The total power received by an antenna P, ideally, right? Ideally, total power received by an antenna will be equal to power density times AP, right? Power density is watt per meter square. It is actually what power distributed in unit area, and AP is the total physical area of this antenna. It is in meter square. So it will give you total power received by an antenna, right? It will give you total power received by an antenna. I told ideally, right? I told ideally. But the problem is these electric field intensity vectors, right? It will be oriented like this, right? And this antenna is made of metal, right? This antenna has sidewalls, right? This antenna has sidewalls, right? This antenna has sidewalls, and that is made of metal, right? And you might be remembering, right? Whenever an electromagnetic wave, right? Whenever an electromagnetic wave encounters a dielectric metal interface, right? Whenever an electromagnetic wave encounters a dielectric metal interface, if this is electric field intensity vector, right, I can resolve it into horizontal component and vertical component, right? So this, or tangential component and normal component, right? E tangential and E normal. You might have studied this, right? Have you studied this in electromagnetic waves about boundary condition, electrostatic boundary condition? Have you studied? Please, someone please respond. Kushi,
Yes, sir.
have you studied about electrostatic? Huh?
Yes, sir.
So you might have studied normal component of flux density is continuous, tangential component is zero and out. So we don't want much in-depth knowledge and all, right? So if a electromagnetic wave or electric field is encountering a metal dielectric interface, right? Metal dielectric boundary, what will happen is this tangential component will become actually what will be forced to become zero, right? Why? Because if component of electric field parallel to this metal, right, it will be forced to become zero. Why? Because if there is a field like this, it will cause actually what? A potential difference across this metal, right? It will cause a potential difference across this metal, and if there is a potential difference, metal has so many free electrons, there will be a current, right? So this conductivity or current is so high that this will be dissipated as heat, and it will be actually what? Dissipated as heat. This tangential component will be died out, right? So E tangential will be zero if there is a metal dielectric boundary, right? So which means this tangential component of electric field cannot actually what? Contribute to the power. So that's why I told this electric field at the boundaries, side volts has to be equal to zero. So even though the physical area of this antenna is AP, this entire S into AP power will not be delivered ideally. Practically, right? Ideally, even though we can tell the total power is power density times area, physical area, right? Practically this will be equal to, right? Give me a moment. Practically, this will be the actual area, right? Actual area of an antenna, or the total power received, right, will be practical. This is ideal, right? This is practical, right? This will be S into AE, right? S into AE, where this AE is called actually what? Effective aperture. So one AP was actual aperture, right? AE is effective aperture of this antenna, right? Effective aperture, and it will always be less than actually what? AP. It will always be less than AP, or else I can write always be less than or equal to AP. Suppose you can have a perfectly, for instance, right? If it is a wire antenna, physical aperture and effective aperture will be almost same. But if it is a horn antenna like this, where we have metallic walls and all, right, physical aperture will be less. You don't have to bother about this now, but just keep in mind, it is actually what? The power gathering capacity, right? So aperture of an antenna will tell you about the power gathering capacity of an antenna, right? So from what effective area this power can be gathered. So this is actually what? This is actual power received, because at side walls E is equal to actually what? 0. So the actual received power is actually what? This, and it will be, right, less than the ideal power received. And this aperture efficiency, now I'll define, right? Aperture efficiency, right? Even if you are not able to take down sentences, please do note down these equations, whatever I am writing, right? So the explanation, very crisp and detailed, very crisp and actually what to the point explanation is available there in your textbook, right? So aperture efficiency, I'll represent it as epsilon AP, that is given by effective aperture divided by actual physical aperture, and this will always be less than or equal to 1, right? This is aperture efficiency, right? Aperture efficiency, it is actually what? Effective aperture of an antenna divided by the actual physical area of that antenna, that will be always less than or equal to 1. And I'll tell, for say short dipoles and wire antenna, right? Short dipole or wire type antenna, right? Aperture efficiency, it is almost equal to actually what? 100%. And for other types of antenna, horn and other type of antenna, right, this aperture efficiency can vary from somewhere from 50 to say 90%, right? So that you have to keep in mind. For short wire type of antennas, aperture efficiency is almost equal to actually what? 100%, right? Maybe slightly less than 1. But for other types of antenna, horn or other types of antenna which has a physical aperture, actually it will be somewhere between 50 to 90%, right? But of course, as the area of this horn and all are it's more, it can of course gather more power compared to a wire antenna, but that is what I just have to tell. So that is about aperture efficiency. So I have introduced you to what? Physical aperture, it is actually what? Actual area of the antenna, right? Then I have introduced to effective aperture. Effective aperture is nothing but what? This maybe at the side walls, right? The electric field intensity tangential component will be 0. So only an effective area will be able to capture the power as such. So that is actually what? Effective area. And effective aperture, epsilon AP, is actually what? The ratio of effective area to actual area. That is actually what? Effective aperture, right? That is the concept of effective aperture. So I'm moving on to the next topic, right? So how to represent, how to relate directivity and AE, how directivity and AE are related, right? So for that, what I'm doing is I'm considering a, right, I'm considering an antenna, right? You can considering an antenna with effective aperture AE, right, and beam area equal to omega A. I'm considering an antenna with effective aperture AE and beam area equal to omega A. So you can assume whatever power is radiated by this antenna, it is confined within a cone of beam area omega A. So this solid angle is actually what? Omega A. So the total power radiated by this antenna is confined within this cone of area omega A. And suppose the electric field intensity at the antenna, it is equal to EA, right? Electric field intensity of this antenna is equal to EA, and effective aperture area is equal to AE. And what will be power density at antenna? SA, power density at antenna, right? You know, if electric field intensity is known, power density S is equal to, you know, E square by Z naught, right? Watts per meter square, watts per meter square. I have told this before itself, right? So power density is related to electric field intensity as, right, E square by Z naught, watts per meter square, right? So this SA will be equal to, or power density at antenna, right? That SA will be equal to EA square by Z naught, right? Watts per meter square. And you know this Z naught is equal to actually what? Intrinsic impedance of free space. Intrinsic impedance of free space, eta naught, that is equal to 125 ohm, right? So you know that. So if this is the power density here, right? So what will be the total power radiated by this antenna? So that if you integrate or if you multiply the power density with effective area of this antenna, that will give you total power. So the total power radiated by this antenna, right? Total power radiated by this antenna. So kindly excuse me, I'll take 2 minutes extra, not more than that, right? So total power radiated by antenna can be found out as P total. P is equal to, right, SA into effective area, that is EA square by Z naught times A. I'm calling it equation number 1. I'm calling it equation number 1. So I can write it like this. So now whatever power is radiated, it is confined within this beam, right? It is confined within this beam. I'm assuming there is no loss, right? Whatever power is radiated, only problem is as the distance increases, it will be spread across more and more area. That's it, right? But the total power will be same. So I can find out the total power. So if I consider a point at some distance R units, if I consider a point at some distance R unit, where the electric field intensity is ER, where the electric field intensity is ER, right? And the distance is R, right? So the power is spread across an area given by this, right? Power is spread across an area given by this. I know the solid angle is omega A and this radius is R. Can anyone tell me what will be this area? This area will be equal to R square times omega A. It's from standard definition of this. So power will be spread across this area R square times omega A. So if you multiply this R square times omega A, right? If you multiply this R square times omega A with this power density at this point can be SR, right? Power density at this point can be SR. This SR can be written as SR will be equal to ER square by Z naught, where ER is the field intensity at the point. Yeah, so here the field intensity is ER and power density is SR. So I'm just telling area will be equal to R square into omega A, R square into omega A. So now I can write, right, this total power radiated, this will also be equal to, this will also be equal to P is equal to SR into that area at R, right? Area at R. So that is SR is nothing but what? ER square by Z naught, and area at R is nothing but what? R square into omega A. So I am calling it as equation number 2, right? So it is, I got 2 equations now. Both will give me total power. So I can either calculate the total power by integrating the power density over the effective aperture of the antenna. So multiplying power density, if I'm assuming it's uniform power density here with A, if I multiply, I'll get total power. Or else this antenna is confining total power within a solid angle of omega A. So if I multiply the power density at this point, I'm assuming again it is uniform across this and it is 0 elsewhere, right? And I will get the total power if I'm assuming no loss. So that's what I've written. So now this EA is the field intensity here and ER is the field intensity at a distance R. So please keep in mind, right? So I'll tell you now, this ER right? It will be proportional to, if EA, if at the source the field intensity is EA, this ER will be proportional to actually what, 1 by R. It will be proportional to 1 by lambda, and it will also be proportional to actually what, effective area, right? Please do keep this in mind. So when I discuss about Frisch transmission formula, and maybe in next unit we will physically find out what is the field radiated by short dipole and all, then you will be able to find out that. So ER is proportional to actually what, 1 by R, that is inverse of distance, inverse of wavelength, and proportional to A. So now I can write, right? So I have equation 1 and 2, both are same, right? Both are same. 1 is equal to 2, right? And also I can write ER as EA into AE divided by R times lambda, right? So I know you have a confusion how it came, but we will discuss it in detail in next class, right? So EA into AE divided by R times lambda. So this is equation number 3, right? So if I substitute ER as EA into AE times EA by R times lambda. So those who want to leave can leave. Anyway, I'll be posting the recording later, right? And those who want to stay back can stay back, right? I'll take maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, right? So if you substitute this in 2, substitute 3 in 2 and equate 1 and 2, right? If you substitute this in 2 and equate 1 and 2, what we will get is, right? What we will get is, equate 1 and 2, we will get lambda square is equal to, right, AE into omega A, right? So equate 1 and 2 and substitute actually what, 3 into, substitute 3 into and equate 1 and 2. You will get the relation lambda square is equal to AE into omega A. So I'll call it as equation number 4, right? So lambda square is equal to AE into omega A. So now I'll go a bit fast, which means omega A is equal to actually what, lambda square by AE, where lambda is the operating wavelength, AE is the effective aperture, right? So this is how effective aperture is related with beam area. So this is beam area or beam solid angle of an antenna, right? So omega A is equal to lambda square by AE, and then further I can write directivity, right? Directivity, I know it is 4 pi by omega A, that is equal to 4 pi divided by lambda square into AE, right? So this is how I can find out directivity in terms of AE, right? Provided AE and lambda square are known, I can find directivity as 4 pi AE by lambda square. So this is what I just wanted to tell, right? This is what I just wanted to tell. So from effective aperture, you can find directivity as 4 pi AE by lambda square. That's it. So maybe I'll stop it here. If anyone has any doubt, please ask, right? Otherwise, you can leave. Sorry, I took 3 minutes extra, right? So I hope all of you could note it down. So these are very, very important results, right? So did I go a bit fast today? No, I think, right? Did I go a bit fast? Can anyone give me a feedback?
No, sir. It was fine.
No, right? So why? Because instead of actually what rushing up towards the end, if I include more and more contents now and give you some self-study materials, right? That would be better, I think, right? Last time I could find no one has answered for that refresh Flystone question, right? So it's because I took up that actually a day before exam. So this time I'll make sure at least 1 week before the exam you are given with the topics for exam, IA2, right? And I'll try to include more portion as well, right? So that's it. So thank you so much for your patient listening, right? We'll wind up, right? If anyone has any doubt, can stay back and ask. Otherwise, you can leave. I already took up 4 minutes extra, right? Thank you so much. I hope if it's clear, please do type in clear. Otherwise, if you have any doubt, you don't have to type anything. Yeah. Okay, fine. Thank you. Yeah. All of you can leave. Thank you so much. So of course, this how ER is equal to EA times AE times R by lambda. That part I didn't discuss. I'll discuss it only later when we derive the actual field expression of dipole right? Or else maybe after I discuss the Friis transmission formula, next topic, I'll be able to give you more idea on this, right? But for the time being, I want you to accept and appreciate that, right? That's it. Thank you so much.